Hey ARMY, if you're watching this video right now, that means you're one of the millions of people around the world who waited for this moment. Waited for them to come home. Waited for them to sing again. Waited for them to be together again. And it turns out, Jimin was waiting too. Waiting for the right moment to pour every single feeling into one song. But what nobody knew, until now, is what happened behind the closed doors of the recording studio. What happened when Jimin stood in front of the microphone, recording the final song for the ARIRANG album, and suddenly, his tears fell. Today, we're going to talk about that moment. From the very beginning, from the long nights when BTS was still separated by military uniforms, all the way to the final second when the most anticipated album in K-pop history was finally complete. This isn't just news. This is a story about love, patience, and a promise that was kept. So get comfortable, grab your drink, and let's start from the beginning. We need to flash back for a moment. June 2022. The world of K-pop felt like it had lost its gravity. BTS, 7 men who had been the voice of a generation for nearly a decade, announced they were taking a break. Not a regular break. Each member would complete mandatory military service, as required of all able-bodied Korean men. One by one, they left. Jimin entered the barracks first in December 2022. Then jhope, RM, Suga, and V followed. And in December 2023, Jimin and Jungkook enlisted together. Stadiums that used to roar with ARMY went suddenly silent. But ARMY didn't leave. They waited. In every corner of the world, from Jakarta to New York, from Seoul to Sao Paulo, fans counted the days. The hashtag waiting for BTS never truly died on social media timelines. And behind those military barrack walls, the 7 members of BTS never stopped thinking about one thing. When could they come back, and what would they bring for the people waiting for them? Now we get to the part that many of you may not have heard in full. In May 2026, RM revealed something that had been kept quietly inside for a long time. Through a Weverse livestream, Namjoon, BTS's leader, told the story of one night that changed everything. That night happened around the time Jimin completed his military service in June 2024. Jimin was free, but the other 6 members were still actively serving. The group's mental state, RM said, was not very stable. They all gathered in one place. And that place was Jimin's house. Imagine it. 7 grown men, idols who were used to appearing strong on stage, sitting in a circle, and one by one, they began talking about the fears they had each been carrying alone. Then something unexpected happened. Jungkook cried, not just a quiet sob. He wept. And through his tears, Jungkook said to RM, "As an older brother, I'm asking you to work harder to keep our team together." And that was like breaking a dam. One by one, tears fell. Every member cried together. No one hid their sadness. No one pretended to be strong. That conversation, carried out in tears and embraces, turned out to be the seed of the ARIRANG album. Because from that conversation came one unspoken agreement. We will come back soon. We will create again. For everyone who has been waiting. Time moved forward. One by one, the members of BTS completed their military service. Jimin and Jungkook, the 2 youngest who had enlisted together in December 2023, were finally discharged on June 11, 2025. Thousands of ARMY from around the world arrived at the Yonghyun Sports Complex before dawn. The screams, the tears, the hugs that had been delayed for 2 years finally overflowed. Jimin and Jungkook held a short 5-minute press conference. Their faces were tired, but their eyes were shining. They were free, and the only thing on their minds was one word: studio. BTS began recording sessions together in Los Angeles in July 2025. 4 months, they worked with world-class producers: Mike Will Made It, Flume, Diplo, Ryan Tedder, El Guincho, crafting what would become the most monumental album of their career. Then came the moment that made every ARMY across the world stop breathing for a few seconds. November 1st, 2025, Jimin went live, and with a warm smile but glistening eyes, he said to his fans, "Guys, we just finished recording. It can come out next spring. Seeing you today, I really feel like promoting our music." The words were simple, but the weight behind them, immense. Because behind those words were 2 years of uncertainty, hundreds of nights without a stage, and millions of ARMY who never stopped believing. And now we arrive at the heart of this video. From various accounts circulating among the ARMY community and confirmed through multiple interviews, there is one moment that keeps being talked about. The moment Jimin recorded the last song for the ARIRANG album. The album has 16 songs. Every song has its own story, but there is one song, the very last one recorded, that made Jimin unable to hold back his emotions. Why? Because when he stood in front of that microphone, Jimin was not singing for the charts. He was not singing for streaming numbers. He was singing for everyone who waited. He sang for the army who stayed awake at night counting the days until their return. For the mothers who played BTS songs every evening so their children wouldn't be afraid to sleep alone. For the teenagers who grew up with BTS and were now adults, but still faithfully waiting. And as the melody flowed, as the words left his lips, Jimin felt the entire weight of those 2 years collapse all at once. His tears fell, not from sadness, but from relief, from being deeply moved. Because finally, the promise could be kept. Remember that night at Jimin's house? The night Jungkook wept and pleaded for them to stay together? The night they all promised to create again for the people who were waiting? That night was in Jimin's mind as he recorded that song. And that song, in their own words, felt like the answer to a promise made through tears a year before. This song is for everyone who waited. On January 1st, 2026, Big Hit Music announced the official comeback date, March 20th, 2026. The announcement came through a handwritten letter sent to ARMY, a gesture that felt like a letter from an old friend who had finally come home. And on January 15th, the album's name was revealed, ARIRANG, a name that is more than just a title. ARIRANG is a 600-year-old Korean folk song, a song about longing, sorrow, and the resilience of the human spirit. A song sung by Korea's ancestors when they were separated from the people they loved. And BTS chose it as the name of their comeback album. Coincidence? There are no coincidences with BTS. The album contains 16 songs recorded from July to November 2025 during extended sessions in Los Angeles. The tracklist includes songs like Body to Body, Hooligan, Aliens, Swim, Merry-Go-Round, Please, and many more. Notably, Body to Body, produced by Diplo, Dog, the Picard Brothers, and Ryan Tedder, even incorporates a sample from the original ARIRANG folk song, a bridge between the past and the future. Suga, in one interview, said the album would show a more mature side of BTS. Not the same BTS as 2020, but a BTS that had walked through fire, military service, separation, doubt, and emerged on the other side with something deeper. And the world received it with open arms. Pre-orders exploded to 4 million units in just 1 week. ARIRANG broke the record as the longest charting Korean album in the top 10 of the Billboard 200. This wasn't just a comeback. This was a statement. And when they finally stepped back on stage, the world truly paused for a moment. In Busan, Jimin's hometown, BTS held the ARIRANG concert as part of celebrating their 13th debut anniversary. Over 110,000 ARMY packed the venue. Not thousands, 110,000 people. V, who holds so many memories in Busan dating back to the BTS fifth muster Magic Shop concert in 2019, said with a trembling voice, "Busan holds so many beautiful memories for me." And Jimin, the man born and raised in Busan, stood on that stage, looked out at the ocean of fans, and said, "I am so happy to be in my hometown, on such a meaningful day, singing and dancing with all of you." Did anyone cry? Yes. Was it Jimin? Possibly. But this time, his tears were different from the ones in the recording studio. This time, they were tears of full happiness, because the promise made on that one night at his home had finally been truly fulfilled, on a stage, in front of the entire world. ARMY, if there is one thing we can take away from all of this, it is this. Waiting is never a waste. Especially when what you're waiting for is something real. Jimin cried in that studio not because he was weak. He cried because he knew the weight of every second of that wait. And he wanted that song to carry one message. We heard you. We know. And we never forgot you. The ARIRANG album is not just a collection of songs. It is a letter written with 2 years of longing, recorded with a voice trembling with emotion, and sent to 100 million ARMY across every corner of this earth. And Jimin, with his tears in front of that microphone, expressed everything that ordinary words could never reach. Because there are moments in life that are too big to explain, that can only be felt, that can only flow through tears. And that song, the last one recorded for ARIRANG, is that moment. For everyone who waited, they are home, and they brought everything with them. Okay, Army, that's our video for today. If you felt emotional, don't go through it alone. Drop a purple heart in the comments and tell us which BTS moment made you cry the most. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next video. Because there are still so many stories behind the ARIRANG album that we haven't covered yet. See you in the next one. Take care, and as always, Purple You, Army. Purple Heart.